So no, we're going to start in 10 minutes. So it's 6 minutes more. And this is day 3 of the UX Drive Community Youth Case Study Bootcamp. If you're not on the, is everybody on the community page itself? Is everybody on the community page? If you're on the community page, just use the thumbs up. I want to see it. If you're on the community page itself, the community page itself. So Emanuela Eze, just try and join. Yeah, Emanuela Eze. How was yesterday's session? Emanuela Eze.
Good evening, can you hear me?
Seems you're in a noisy environment. Don't worry.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma.
Sorry, sir.
I can hear you.
Sorry. Okay. So you asked a question, I didn't get you.
How was yesterday's session? I think you were here yesterday.
Yes.
But you were not paying attention, or you were not attentive. Which of them?
That's actually that's objectives and problem statements very well. Day before yesterday, I didn't get some things in problem statements, so like I actually learned something from that problem statement when our mentor was correcting us on our assignments we did.
All right. Nice one.
Thank you.
Adiola Fumila. Thank you very much, Manuela. Adiola Fumilayo Uguleye. How was yesterday's session?
Hi, good evening. Yesterday's class was intuitive, and it was so much of information, and you checking the assignments and giving feedbacks on what everyone has done. It was so much sort of enlightenment on how to carry out with the statement of problem, the solution, the objectives, and how to go about everything. So thank you so much, sir.
That's nice. Are you all right, by the way?
Yeah, kind of. I'm not feeling too well, so
Yeah. Sorry, Bele. Please take care of yourself.
yeah, thank you.
That's first. All right. Godfather, are you there? How was yesterday? I thought I saw Godfather now.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, yesterday was splendid. Nice lectures. Yeah, you keep blessing us. Shout out to you, man. You're the man.
How is South Africa?
South just the hot to myself at the best for the people, I swear.
Please calm down. I beg go. Who is it I've not heard before? Gifts Olungwe. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. I think I did. It's Igbo. Yeah, Olungwe. Gift Olungwe, yeah. How was yesterday's session? Gifts. Goodness David. Wow, Goodness David, that was yesterday's session. I'm just speaking randomly, basically.
Hi, good evening. It was
Good
very fine. Like I enjoyed yesterday's section.
What's your name on WhatsApp? Are you the one like CHLOE something Chloe? Are you the one?
No, no.
Okay. Thank you very much. Who is he again? Alimi Kennedy. How was yesterday's session?
Hello, good evening.
Hi, Alimi.
So yeah, my name is Kendi actually.
Okay,
So yesterday's session was good. It was so informative and I really enjoyed it. Like really.
nice one. So we've got 1 minute. So in 1 minute, I think I mentioned gift is gift here. Everybody needs to be here. I intentionally used to do this to get our attention span. So the three is taken off by the way. And I hope everybody has a partner by now. I want to hope everybody has a partner by now. Maiwa, Maiwa, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, don't worry. After the call, just send me a WhatsApp message. We'll talk about it later. So Covenant is here.
Good evening.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Once again, I'm Modele Covenant, and I'm your facilitator for day 3. And kudos to everyone that was present in yesterday class. I'm already seeing everyone's progress via the Figma file, and as much as possible trying to give every single person a feedback on what they have done. So I would encourage you to visit the Figma file. I have given feedback to every single file or every single section that has been created for each team. I've reviewed every team file that was created. So everything should make sure that they visit their section that they've created to get their feedbacks. And if you have any pending or anything that you don't fully understand on the WhatsApp group and Creative Pulse, you can always reach out to me. I will share more insight on what to do. But pending that time, you can review the Figma file. I've dropped comments on every person's assignment on what you are asked to do. And I'm seeing that everybody is making a very huge progress. I would say kudos to everyone and a round of applause for you guys. I love you guys' attitude towards the assignment and the exercise. And I trust everyone have had a great day already. Likewise, I already had a great day already. And for the purpose of tonight's class, we'll be deep diving again into user interview and observational research. So for tonight's class, we'll be deep diving into user interviews and observational research, because what we'll be doing next on our case study file that everyone has created, or the section that everyone has created, is moving on to understanding what the user frustration needs are. So we'll be creating user personas and we'll be listing out what their motivation is, what their frustrations are, what exactly is their pain point as well. So I would love everyone to pay attention, bring your maximum attention here, and be attentive, as this would be another step to reaching the goal that we all are looking forward to, which is to have a very strong case study at the end of the day. And it wouldn't be nice when you miss steps, because you get lagging behind if you are not paying good attention. So I would encourage everybody to just pay good attention. If you need to write down, you can write down. If you need to probably screen record, but for the purpose of the class will be available on the YouTube channel for everyone that has missed one thing or the other to review them once again after the class. So you can always visit the YouTube channel to review whatever has been taught in the night over again during the day before you go through your assignments to like answer them. So to start with tonight's class, I'll be explaining once again what user interview is. I'll be telling you guys the purpose. I'll be telling you guys the process you follow in taking user interview, and I'll be stating a couple of examples. And afterwards, I'll take you guys through what observational research is. I'll tell you guys the purpose of observational research when it comes to UI UX case study. I will tell you guys what the process is like, how you go about them, and I will give you guys a couple of scenarios to make you guys have a better understanding of what these things are. And afterwards, we would move on to our Figma file to create one or two personas, understand how personas are being created and how personas are being done when it comes to UX case studies. So without further ado, I would like to start off by telling you again or going over what user interview is, because I believe I've spoke about what user interviews are in my previous classes, but for the purpose of probably those who have missed it or probably those who were not getting things right effectively, I'll just go over it once again to give everyone a brief overview of what user interview is. And user interview, as the word says, is always involving one-on-one discussion with your users, and it helps you understand what the user need and behavior, their pain points are, and it is also a direct method of gathering qualitative data. And like previous class, qualitative data are more of what the user are facing, while quantitative data are matrices you get to pull out your decisions from. So it helps you gather qualitative data and gives you more insight about what motivates this user, and it gives you more insight about what their emotions are. So qualitative data are the way user communicates their pain points. So you would believe me, or you'd agree with me if I say that if you are being asked a question that has multiple choice answers, and if you are being asked a question whereby you are asked to summarize or tell us your experience, you'll be able to pour out more of your emotions. You'll be able to pour out more of what motivates you, more of what frustrates you about a particular product in you having to give a qualitative data than you having to fill out a multiple choice questionnaire or a multiple choice interview questions. So one of the importance of having user interview is to gain more insight about what the user feels like in terms of their pain points and their needs. And one other importance or one purpose of user interview is to validate your findings from survey and other research methods. So even after you've sent out questionnaire to probably gather your quantitative data, you would always need interviews. You always need your qualitative data to, at the end of the day, validate what you've sent out. Because without some users having to answer open-ended question, you won't really get to know what they feel and what is going on with them regarding a particular product or a particular solution you are trying to profile. So if you've gotten a solution in mind to give to a particular problem, you have to hear from your users first and know what problem is like for them. And I'm talking about the processes you go through in terms of user interview. The first thing you do is to define the objective, which is while I've given everyone the assignment, and which is why I've spoken about defining objective in the previous class. So when you define your objective, it helps you determine what the user challenge, and even that feature, it helps you have a better and clear understanding of the feature you are trying to develop to solve a particular problem. It helps you understand it more in terms of the feature preferences, and as well, it helps you know how far you need to still learn about this particular problem you are trying to solve. And another process that you follow in doing user interview is recruiting participants. So it won't just be only you that you have to fill out these things, because you are not the only one facing that particular problem. That is why you have to gather data from people. So like you have to select users representative of your target audience. So if let's say you are solving a particular problem in the real estate world, or in the home, or let's say in the food delivery world, you try to send out this interview or gather your information from people that are into real estate, to know what their pain points are in terms of how they use real estate applications, or in terms of how they use real estate websites, or any problem they're facing that regards what real estate entails. And if you are working on let's say a food delivery system, you have to select target audience that will give you a great insight on what they are facing regarding when they are ordering food from these food ordering applications. And if you're facing let's say you are solving a problem that regards digital health, that relates to health, you can probably reach out to different patients, people that have probably um try to probably book an appointment with doctors, or reach out to people that you feel are in line with probably medical lines, to hear from their view. Because if you don't select your user representative properly, and you don't select this target audience properly, you might be getting some things wrong. So for example, if you're working on, let's say, Uber application, and you are asking some questions from someone that has never used Bolt before, used Uber application, or any transporting application before, or any commercial means of transportation before, you won't be able to effectively get some data you'll be needing, some information you'll be needing. You won't get them effectively. So without people experiencing something, they might not be able to talk more about those things. So if I haven't used Uber before, I can't tell you what the experience on Uber feels like, Uber application feels like. If I haven't used before, I can't tell you what food or buying something in an online store online feels like. If I haven't used Jumia before, I can't tell you what using an e-commerce product feels like. So you have to select your user representative in terms of your target audience that resonates with that particular niche you are working on. And the next process that you move on to is to prepare your questions that you want to ask your user. So you always have to use open-ended questions to encourage more detailed response. So in as much as you consider multiple choice questions, you would always at the same time have to use open-ended question too. And like I said, open-ended question would always give you a more detailed response on what the user needs and the user frustrations are. And this feedback would always help you shape what your user experience solution is going to be like. And the next thing you have to do is to analyze your responses. So if you've gotten quantitative data from your users, you analyze those data. You tend to section every data you've gotten. For your qualitative data, which are detailed response, you look into those data properly and make sure that your solution is well aligned with what these users are facing. Because the main purpose of user interview is to know what users are facing, not what only you are facing. Because at the end of the day, any case study you've built, any solution you are solving for a particular product is not for you. You are solving for the users. we user experience designer, we are not always building for ourselves. That is why it is called user-centric design. So it is centered on users, not only you, and not even you at times. So it is always centered on users. That's why you have to analyze this response. And for quantitative responses, whereby we've used multiple choice question, you try to analyze those answers in terms of the numbers. You can use percentage. Okay, 50% of my response was yes, 25% of my response was no, the remaining 25% of my response was I don't know. So from that, you'll be able to draft out what your solution will be like. Because any solution you'll be profiling has to be aligned with what the user needs. And an example of what these questions might look like in terms of open-ended question can be like, can you describe what your experience using Uber application is? Can you describe what your experience using OPay is? Can you describe what your experience was when you were making a bill payment on this so product? Can you describe what your experience was? So whenever you're trying to gather qualitative data, you tend to ask users to probably summarize, give in details, describe, so that you would get to know what exactly is their pain point. And not only that, another example is, what challenge do you face when completing a particular task on this particular product? So an example of that can be, what challenge you face when trying to send money from your domiciliary account to your Naira account on this also product? What challenge do you face when you are trying to order food on this application? What challenge do you face? So that challenge is one of the things that you deeply look into, that will give you insight on what to do. So when you listen to what their frustrations are, what their challenges are, then you try to analyze what is causing these things as a user experience designer. So if it is that they are not being able to easily navigate to where the transaction history is, they're not being able to easily navigate or find their card details, you can easily tell that, okay, that is a navigation problem that the users are facing. So it will not be left to you as a user experience designer to bring a new entire user experience to the users, so that they can have a different feel and a better life when it comes to that particular problem you're solving. So for every one of us that has listed a particular problem statement, that you have listed your solutions and your objective. After gathering your user interview response and feedback, it will give you more insight, and you might have to still go back and review what exactly these people are going through. So that is one thing that user experience does to us. It's open our minds to what these users are facing, not only what you are facing personally. And the next thing I'll be moving on to is what we mean by observational research. So observational research always involves you watching the user interact with a particular product or an environment to identify pain points. Not only pain points, it helps you identify the opportunities as well. And this observational research method always capture the real life behavior rather than self-thinking or self-reporting a data. So and one purpose of it is that it helps you uncover what the user do versus what they say they do. So even after you've probably sent out questionnaire and users have filled it and have given you insights on how they feel, observational research would help you validate truly, because it uncovers what users do versus what they say they do. So, for example, watching a user navigate an e-commerce website to find a product. Let's say, for example, you eventually give someone Jumia website to probably find a product by his or herself. That is like an observational research process whereby you stay and watch how this person is doing it versus how the person says that is doing it. So that will give you another perspective or another insight on probably this person is doing it the wrong way, is why he feels it's a bad experience, whereas it's a good experience. So at times when you are facing a particular problem, that is why I've said that whenever you identify a problem in a particular niche, that problem can be that it is that you are doing it the wrong way. Other users might be finding it very easy to navigate, but might just be only you. That is why observational research would open your mind as a user experience designer to know how they do this thing versus how they've said they do it. So at times, let's say if you are using a support system on a particular product and you're reporting an issue with them, at times they will still try to guide you through the process to validate how you are going through that particular process. Let's say you reach out to MTN support system and you're telling them that you have been trying to recharge the data from your MTN app and you're facing so issue. They will at times be asking you some questions. Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do this? Did you do so things? That is them trying to know how you are going about that particular process versus how you've said you've done it. So that is one thing that observational research would always do at the end of the day for us as user experience designers. And one other thing that it does is it helps us identify inefficiencies very well. It helps us identify frustrations again. And it helps us identify unexpected behaviors from users. And that is one thing that observational research cover. From the word observation, it means studying, trying to know what this person is facing, trying to know how this person is doing this thing. Because at times when you are given a mathematical problem to solve, there are different approaches to solve some mathematical problem. And you might be saying you don't get it, and someone else will just come and say that, how about you do it this way? That's because the person has probably observed how you are solving that problem, and the person feel, this is not how to do it. How about if we do it this way? So observational research focus on you uncovering what these users' behaviors are in terms of how they approach this problem you've identified in any niche. So I'll take you through the process of doing your observational research. One of it is selecting a particular setting that you want to observe this user from. So you can observe users from their natural environment. It can be probably when they are in the office. Users in the office tend to order food from food applications. You can try to observe them, what their behavior is at that point when they're trying to order that food. If they are at home, you can try to know what they are going through. Is it that they are feeling tensed? Is it that they are feeling down, or they are not motivated at that point when they are ordering that food? Is why they are feeling that, okay, these people are wasting my time. Why are they not here on time? So you have to like at times really do your observational research to know how users are going about this particular problem that you've identified, which would always help you validate your research and anything you've concepts in your mind, or any solution you are trying to propose. And another step is defining the objectives in your observational research. So you have to focus on a particular task or an interaction you want to analyze. So if it is that you want to study how the user go about in checking his transaction history, you might have to just watch that person. Okay, take this phone, check your transaction history, and let me see how you are going about it. Even though that person has told you that I can't find my transaction history. So like you looking at them interacting with that particular feature or that particular task you've given them would give you a great insight on what exactly or on how they go about solving that particular problem or on how they go about achieving that particular task that you're giving to them. So another step you follow, or the next process you follow in observational research, is your passive or active observation. Because I know some people will be like, how about if I'm not with the person? How about if I'm not there when the person's performing this thing? How do I know this thing? That is why we have passive or active observation, whereby passive is watching them without your interference, and active is asking occasional questions to clarify the user's actions. So we can categorize MTN asking you some questions about how you are going about some things on their mobile application. You can categorize that to probably active because they are on the call with you and trying to know. So passive is you asking them how they have gone about it without even interfering with them at all. So after they've done it, then you can now make your observation that okay, this is how this person has gone about it. Okay, fine. So there are two ways to it. It's either you do your passive observation or your active observation. So the next thing you do in your observational research is to document your observation. You take notes of what they are doing, how you are going about it. You can take photos, you can take videos to capture details of what they are doing. And lastly, you analyze your findings. So analyzing your findings would help you identify the patterns that the users are going about in achieving this particular task or interacting with this particular feature on that particular app, and it helps you identify usability issue as well at the end of the day. And another example of what observational research is how you observe how a user interacts with a checkout feature on Jumia. So you can observe how this person go about ordering food on the app. Can give the person a mobile app that has Glovo and open Glovo app for the user. Okay, take Glovo app, order a food. Let me see how you go about it. That will give you a great insight on how this person is using this app. Or listening to them, that how do you go about it? That's passive because they've done it already. Listen to the process of how they have gone about this ordering food on Glovo app. So observational research would always give you great insights on how to go about your case studies, and it will give you great insight as well on what exactly these users are doing right or wrong. So with your observational research, it can help you eventually just validate everything you have put together in terms of your data, qualitative data and quantitative data. That is one thing that's observational research does. And without wasting much time, I would love everyone to once again come to the Figma file while we go about creating our first case study. So I would love everyone to come to the Figma file if you are on the call, and let's create our first user persona. So if you are on the call, I would love you to come to the Figma file where I will be creating a user persona for us to see how we go about creating user persona and how we gather information on our user persona cards. Okay. So everyone, if you're on the file, you can follow my mouse to see what I'm going to be creating. Good, brilliant. Let's say this is our card, and what are the things that are meant to be on our user personal card? One of the things that we have to include is the user frustrations. We have to include the user frustrations. This card is too big. So this. Sorry. Okay, good. So everyone, you can come over here and let's trade something together. So over here, let's say we'll be having picture of the user personal card we'll be creating. So we'll be collecting what the user frustration is. So around this file, I would love us to drop our idea on what user frustration can be like. Just comment around the file. I'll pick randomly and add that to the file. I want this to be a very interactive section. So I want to see everybody comment around here. I want to see your comment around the frame I've created. Just drop your comment. Just drop a comment. I'll read it. Click on the comments. Just click on the comments or something. Okay, to make it easy, you guys can write whatever you have inside here. Come over here. Come over here, up here. Yes, you can start writing inside this other frame. Just drop a comment and I would pick it. I'll pick a random and add what user frustration can be like using a particular app. So let's take food delivery into consideration for what our frustrations are going to be like. So let's state what are the frequent frustrations users can be facing in terms of a food delivery app. Good. I can say Emmanuel dropping his comment. So I'll be picking at random. Please let's drop our comments. Good, good. Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, and I would always love us to bear in mind that there are some frustrations that are technical issues. Yeah, because while I'm going through some problem statements, I saw when someone spoke about loading time and as the application crashes. That might not be a user experience issue. That can be a technical issue from the back end or the developer's end. Okay, find this difficult to order bulk food. I love this. I love this. Good. We have our first frustrations. I'll be taking 5 frustrations. I love what everyone is doing, to be very honest. Good. A very good one. Okay. Precise location. Good. This is another one. I love this. Precise location. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. Unable to track delivery. Good. Unable to track delivery. I love that. Unable to track. That's a very good. Everyone is doing amazing, to be honest. Like, just keep it. Okay, real time tracking of food. That's okay. Let's use real time tracking of food instead of unable to track food. Real time tracking of food. Brilliant. Um. Okay, not guessing exact kind of food they order for. Okay. Let's see if there's something similar. There are too many ads forever to load. Person selection delivery address. Okay. Another food. Yeah, difficulty in selecting the delivery address. Okay. Easy to navigate to find the right order on time. Okay. And that's for sure when they can't get their other food choices on time, it will be delaying. Hmm. Late deliveries. Font is too small. Untrustworthy riders. Okay. Late deliveries. Okay. I would like I love the way everyone is dropping their comments, and I'll still make my comment on everybody's comments at the end of the day. Okay. Alleged listing. Okay. That's okay. I think someone, yeah, late life support. Good. Non-availability of brilliant, brilliant. Okay, we have one more to go. Other lunch and all that. That's timing. Uneasy to navigate. Navigation issue. Cannot order food for a third party. Awesome. Hmm. Good. 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 Okay. Good. You can drop a comment here. Sorry. Okay. Let's stop for now. I can see everyone's comment, and to be honest, everyone is doing amazing. I won't even lie. I just had to just pick at random. Yeah. So that's all the I thought. Okay. For someone else. For yeah, another person. Okay. Awesome. I love that. Good. Now I'm glad everyone did this. Now let's move to what this user might need or what his needs are. So from our frustrations, let's from the frustrations I've picked as random, let us craft out what the user would be needing. And find this. Okay, great. So the next thing we'll be moving to is our needs. So from our frustrations, let's state what these user needs are. So you can look into the 6 frustrations I've picked, and on here, let us state out what the needs are. There's an empty frame here. You can drop what you feel the needs are from this frustration. So look at the frustration and state what the user needs to be. Okay, is there any live support to attend to their needs? Easy navigation, real-time tracking, real-time order tracking, good. Real-time order tracking, good. Easy navigation, we have to easy navigation, brilliant. Okay, is there any section to track? Okay, and there's okay. Chatbots for immediate customer support. Brilliant. Brilliant. That's effective and active customer steps. Straight out that. Okay, good. Okay, user need being able to order bulk food order. Okay, voice assistance to make order. An advanced location track increase order food size. I think bulk order should be the right. Bulk food order. Good. Okay. Real-time order tracking. Okay, precise location. Okay. Advanced location tracking system. Okay. Real-time- We can use a real-time location tracking system. Or precise location tracking system. Okay, bulk food order. We need one more for corner. Okay. Has anybody spoken about easy navigation? Easy navigation to find food of choice. Good. Okay, what else have we not dealt with? Bulk order, effective customer support, time tracking of food, the time management. Okay, we need one more. Yeah, I think bulk food order and not being able to order from another person is same thing. So let's find one more frustration and replace that with able to track delivery. Let's add the frustration of no food suggestions or no meal suggestion. So even if you don't have an idea of what to eat, there should be a feature that suggests a particular combo for you. Probably you can try out spaghetti and turkey. I mean, there should be a feature that suggests food for you. So let's say food recommendation. Okay, I think we have 6 already. Using navigation, bulk order, effective active customer support, tracking of food, precise location tracking system. Brilliant. So the next thing I want us to move to is like I'll be doing this by myself. Is more of what the user goal is as a person. So I would just go about that by myself. So that's the user goals and motivation. And say the person goal is to simply manage this. I mean, the person's personal life goal. This is a user persona. Bear in mind that you are as much as possible taking a detail of the person, what motivates the person, what the person goal is. We're still going to take the person's age. Okay, so let's go to motivations. Okay, in a real life, this person motivation can be this: freeze some efficiency and free up space to strategize. Okay. Um. Okay. So let's take some data for the user, which is more of the user's age. So let's reduce this. Let's talk about the user age. Let's say the age is 24, because at times the age of users or the age group that some users falls can always influence what kind of decisions the person makes. So let's say person age is 26. Um, for the age, what's the name? Name. The name is Bamidele Olawale. Yeah, so let's talk about where the person is located and and what the person does for a living. So this can be properly arranged much better than this, but just for the purpose of this class, I'm trying to do things as fast as possible. So let's talk about where the person lives, location, because location at times influence some decisions for users. So the person lives in Lagos. Yeah, and talk about occupation or job. Designer. Brilliant. So the next thing we'll be having for our user persona is what's the person trait or what tools that the person use frequently, but those are quite unimportant. So we'll be adding that. We'll be adding the image of the user persona here or the user here, so that we can have a visual representation of what the person looks like. So if we've input someone's age as 23, don't use an old woman in your imagery. So always bear that in mind. So this is what your user persona is going to look like. So if we check the case studies I've shown you will see that these details are like part of the germane things that needs to be collected in terms of a user persona. So different user will come with their own different frustrations and their own different needs, and you can always get this information from user interviews and from your questionnaires So when you're sending out a questionnaire for your interviews or for your survey, always te- always gets to get what their name is, their age, their location, their job, and it is only a qualitative data or a qualitative survey that will give you a good detailed persona. Because if it's an open-ended or a if it's a if it's a multiple choice question that you've sent out, you just be able to drive out these informations. The users won't be able to talk about what their frustrations are, because it will be more of them selecting in between a couple of options. So it is your qualitative means of collecting data that would give you great insight on what the user needs and frustration is. You get to know what motivates them and get to know their goals. So at times, from what motivates some users, you can help to know if the problem they're facing is due to the fact that they are not being motivated at that point when they are using that particular product or that particular application. So for every problem you've identified, always ensure that you do your user research and don't always leave out that you always have to put your observational research into consideration as well, because it's like one of the germane things that can always help you validate your findings even after you've gathered information from both your qualitative and quantitative researches. So this is just a simple way to gather your user personnel. I mean, visually you can still make this more appealing, which I'll be referring us to more case studies whereby we'll be seeing how we can visually make this more interesting and aesthetically pleasing in terms of creating our user personal card. Though it's not about the aesthetics, actually it's about the information that you're passing at this point when it comes to case study. Yeah, so you can visit the case studies I've shared as well. You definitely find samples of good user personal layouts, and you can see the one that you can look into and emulate. So I would love us to come back to the Meet link and continue our learning, which I'll be rounding up shortly. So I'll be moving on to the last parts of the section for tonight, which is tips for collecting qualitative and quantitative data. Because I've been talking about collecting their data, this is how you go about it. I mean, there are some tips that you want to put in mind, or some example of question you want to put in mind. And I think I've made mention of some examples earlier where I gave some questions like how do you go about sending money to someone? How do you go about ordering food from a particular application? So one of the best practices when collecting qualitative and quantitative data is to ask open-ended questions like, how do you feel about this feature? In the last class, there was someone that asked a question that relates to if OPay has a feature and you're working on PAMPay or you're working with PAMPay and PAMPay does not have that feature, do you just go ahead to just implement the same feature because you've seen that OPay has that feature? And I cited something like an example of two existing products that almost everyone use, which is Snapchat and WhatsApp. The both of them are messaging applications, and on both Snapchat and both WhatsApp, you can post stories. And for so long, Snapchat has integrated the feature of you being able to tag your friends to see whenever you post anything about them, or you tag them to see what you've posted on your story. And WhatsApp just integrated this feature probably a couple of months ago, or let's say about 2 months ago. That WhatsApp just integrated this feature. Why is it that they haven't integrated this feature all along? Is it that they are still thinking about it, or they are being skeptical about it? So WhatsApp will first do their research, first of all, to know how user will feel about this feature and to understand what users' needs are, first of all. So it is when you understand what your user needs that you'll be able to finish up what your solution would be like. So ask open-ended question about the product, ask them how they feel about a particular feature you're going to be introducing. So let's say you're solving a problem um, in the fintech industry. You can ask your users, how would you feel if this product, if this particular social feature is being introduced? So user will be able to tell them, oh, I've been expecting this, oh, I've been anticipating for this feature like this. From that, you can always fabricate your results and fabricate your decisions from. So always ask open-ended question. So and you can record your interviews at times or observations and and do more detailed analysis later. Because after interview, you can always jot down, like I said earlier, you can take photos, you can make videos so that you can properly analyze your interview at the end of it. And when collecting these data and when analyzing them, always look for recurring themes in user stories. That's why I've said that at times when you encounter a problem on a particular application, it might be that you are just doing it the wrong way, that it is not a problem. So that's like one of the main reasons why you have to hear from other users how they feel, or are they experiencing same problem. So when you look out for recurring themes in user stories, like when you look out for similar feedbacks that okay, this person is facing this issue, this user is facing this issue, this user is facing this issue, like this is facing, and you're getting probably close to 10, 15, like large amounts compared to people that are not facing it. So from that you can validate this particular problem you've seen that okay, this is truly a problem. Then you now move on to how you want to solve the problem. So one thing you should always look forward to in your qualitative data and your quantitative data is recurring user stories. So for quantitative data, it is very easy to spot because you just look at numbers of people that's probably picked yes and compare it with the number of people that have picked no. From that, you can easily tell that okay, large amount of people like this thing, very few people don't like it. So if you can furthermore go on to know why these people that have picked no have picked no, like know the reason for their decisions. That would greatly help you to know how to tailor your solution properly so that it hits the user problem or the user pain points and frustration when you are writing a case study. Because case study is meant to be a well-detailed thought process, how you've gone about solving the problem. And one great tool you can always use in collecting quantitative and qualitative data, like I've said earlier, is user interview and observational research, like I said earlier. And for quantitative data, the best practices to use for it is to use questions like how are you satisfied on a scale of 1 to 10. From that you can easily drive out your decisions. Let's say people that picked from 7 to 10 about 15, and people that picked from 1 to 5 are about just 3. You can easily fabricate your data and validate some solutions you've proposed or the problem you've had in mind. So and always gather large samples size for reliable insights. So that's like another practice to consider when talking about quantitative data. So you should have at least, let's say, 50 users for you to drive out a reliable insight on the research that you are doing. And another thing that you can use that can be a best practice is to use analytic tools to track how users interact with your questionnaires or the surveys you've sent outside. And always make sure you make use of charts and graphs for better clarity at the end of the day. So if you use probably Google Form to collect your data, at the end of the day, you will definitely see the charts that would show the difference in your answers. It would help you analyze everything and show you how many people, like numbers of people that have chosen no. It would give you like a chart or a graph that would clearly state those results or those data that you're trying to get, and to give you more clarity and to give you direction on where you're going already. And one thing that you can always do too when it comes to quantitative data is your A and B testing. There's something we call the A and B testing. And the A and B testing is like a split testing that is used to like compare two or more versions of a product. So when you are making this research, you can ask question of what if this feature was included in OPay, will it be better? So like that is you trying to compare the OPay with a particular feature and the OPay with that doesn't have a particular feature. So A and B testing is more of you trying to know how user will feel or how they feel about two different products or two different variations of products to know which one performs better. And one of the goal of A and B is to like identify what the changes and conversion rates will be like at the end of the day, or what your desired outcome at the end of the case study will be like. And a very good example of what A and B testing can be like is, let's say on a website you've used color green on this website. Let's say the button color was green, and the new one you are coming up with, you've used or you are going to be using red. That's you trying to know how the user will feel. Do they love the one with green? So, or do they love the one with red? So in terms of accessibility, how they are able to read the text inside the red and how they're able to read the text inside the green, it will give you an insight on which one your users will prefer. So A and B testing is just to simply compare two or more products, idea or version of something together. It can be a website for those working on a website case study. So let's say on a particular website that is not informative enough, and you have one that is more informative. So you ask your audience or your users that are filling your questionnaire, how would you feel if this was the version of the app that you're using that is well informative? How would you feel about this too? So that will give you a great insight on how they will feel if you are introducing a new feature into a particular product or the problem you are trying to solve, or when you are writing your case study. So it will give you direction on what to do and what not to do. And to wrap it up and summarize everything, why all these things are quite essential in your user experience. Case studies is to always help you uncover deep emotions. It will always help you empathize with your users effectively. And in terms of observational research, like I've said earlier, it would always help you review what their real world behavior would look like. And as well, it would make sure that your design address the user need, that you won't just go about designing an experience that does not address the user need. If some of you check your objective that you've listed on the assignments given, I commented on some that your solution or your objective is not addressing the problem you've listed. in your problem statement. So if you are stating an objective, this is just to everyone out there that have stated their objective or looking forward to review it. You'd always make sure that the objective you are stating is addressing the causing factor in your problem statement. If it was that it is a navigation issue in the problem statement, the objective should be like reduction in user drop off due to improved navigation. So your objective should always relate back or mirror your problem statement effectively, and always ensure that you are addressing your user need efficiently, and you would always have to always combine your qualitative and quantitative data to ensure balance and helps you understand your user more. And with quantitative and qualitative data accompanied with your observational research, it would help you lead your solution to a more user-centered solution. So at the end of the day, you would have a solution that is more centered around your user and at the same time enhancing the business growth. Thank you all for listening. I really appreciate your time and patience that you've brought to the class. And with that, before moving forward, I would love to listen to everyone that have a question out there. If there's anything you need to be clarified about, probably after submitting. Okay, Chinonsum. Okay, go on. I'm listening to your question. You can unmute yourself and ask a question. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the class. Right. My question is the motivation, and that's while we are writing out the persona. So the
Okay.
question is motivation and goals, right? Does it
Yeah.
have to be something that is related to the design, or is it just the person's motivations and goals, like in general? Because from the from the one you wrote out, the motivations there, the motivation and the goals there does not really look like it's related to the problem, the design problem that we are trying to solve. So my question is, does the person's motivations and goals and all that, does it have to be about the design or just the person's motivations and goals in general?
That's a very beautiful question. Shinosum. Yeah, so it doesn't have to relate to it. The key thing that we need there is the person frustration, the user frustration, and the user need. It is called a user persona because you collect the user data. Let me set an example for you. If you go to the hospital and you want to see the doctor, the first thing they will do for you is to collect your biodata. Even if you are not sick at times, they would ask you, what's your name? Let's look for your file. Let's document this thing. What's your age? They'll write your age down. They'll write your name. They would now start asking you a couple of questions to know where you're coming from, to know what your sickness is, and to understand you better. That's like one thing that user persona does. So it is after they collect your name, age, probably they ask you which job you are doing. Then after that, they now start asking questions like, how are you feeling? What are the symptoms you are feeling? They will check your temperature and see if you are feeling cold, or if you're running temperature, if you're having headache. They'll start asking those questions. Those questions is to help them know how they are going to address what is wrong with you. So the key thing when they are collecting your biodata in the hospital is how you really feel. So the age they are asking you doesn't really count like that. Your age at times too would help them determine the kind of sickness that, like, what might be wrong, because it is not all age group that have same sickness. people that are probably quite aged. Let's say people around age 85 years old, their sickness won't be the same thing with a child of 25 years old. So in collecting user persona, the age is just to know more about the user. The user job, the user goals, the user motivations are just to know like what drives this particular user. Like how does this particular user think? It's not to directly influence what you've created. So the main takeaway from our user persona is to understand what is this user facing, like what is this user frustration and what does it need. So like those are like the two things. So the user motivation can just always help at times to think about how does this person think. Okay, if this person motivation is this, probably might be a causing factor influencing his problem. So that motivation and goal does not have to necessarily correlate with what their frustration and need is. So if you've stated your frustration and your need, those are like the two main things that are very vital for anyone reading your case study. So other things are just more of biodata of the person. That's why it's called user persona. Like we want to know you. But the key thing to like draw your feedback or your data from, or to draw an insight from, is what this person is facing. What problem are you facing and what do you need? Am I clear enough? Sorry.
Yes, thank you so much. Can I ask my next question? So I'll
Yeah, sure,
just
you can.
all right. So yesterday while we were doing the problem statement and solution, right? I got confused at a point. The solution statement we are to come up with, is it supposed to be design minded? Like, okay, the problem statement is for the one I'm working on, myself and my partner, we're working on Uber stuff. So the problem could be that the users find it difficult to book, or yeah, to book personalized rides. Like they don't have their preference on the app. So that's the problem statement, right? So if I'm to do the solution now, am I going to put it in a way that it is addressing design or the problem? So what I mean is, if I'm writing my solution statement now, will I say, so from the problem statement, we are going to design an app that will do this and this and this, or will I just say, to solve to give a solution to this problem, Uber can impute this and this and this in their app. Do I have to make it look like it's the product I'm designing already, or can it just be, solution all around the problem? I don't know if you get my question.
Yeah, I get your question, and that's a very good question. Yeah, so if you remember from the beginning, you would always hear me hammering about what case study is about, which is anyone reading your case study would always want to know what your thought process is like all through. They want to know how you are thinking, how you are approaching this problem you've listed or you've stated. So when you're stating your solution, you can say something like, I approached, if it is a group it seems something, we've approached this problem by doing so, like they want to know your approach. So you state the approach you've given to it in your solution, like what you're doing. So it is what you are doing and the approach you've given to it that will be in your solution statement. So you can say we've approached this by doing this, implementing this, which would help the user do this, and this. And it would reduce this or eradicate the impacts, which you have stated inside the problem statement. And what follows it is like the objective, like the main things, which means you are touching those, probably those two problems, or those two problems that you've identified. Okay, users find it difficult to do this. Okay, your objective will now be, we will be doing this to eradicate this. We will be doing this to eradicate this. So your solution statement is talking about how you, not how Uber. So you're not going to be saying that Uber would be. You say that I am approaching this problem, because they want to know what you are thinking, how you approach problem in your everyday life. Like, they want to know your thought process. That is one thing that UX case studies is centered around. How you've been able to solve this particular problem, how you've undergo your research, how you've come up with your solutions, what led to your solutions, why was this your best approach to it, why was in like increasing or resolving the navigation issue the best solution to it. Like, they want to know your approach. So it is not that you will now say that Uber would do this. Say your own approach. Tell them your own approach. If it is a team, we've approached this particular problem by doing these so things and this to remove this and make the user enjoy this, which should lead to more this and this. So it's more stating like about what you are going to be in, and how you are approaching it. So that's it simply. Have I answered your question, please? If I've not clearly answered it, you can.
Yes, you have. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, Emmanuel, you can go on with your question. Manuela, yeah, you can unmute yourself and go on with your question.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you very much for the class. Please, I have two questions. I'll start with one. So
Okay.
can one can one actually have both qualitative and quantitative analysis?
Definitely.
Okay. So my second question is, in the behavioral interview you talked about. So you were actually talking mostly on, okay, a user using the app and knowing the user's behavior. So what if it is not, the app hasn't yet been built, it's not an existing app, so it's behavioral interview needed?
Come again, sorry.
Okay. You are talking about behavioral interview, and you are basically emphasizing, if I'm right though, you are basically emphasizing on a user using the app, and
Okay.
knowing, so like understanding the gesture of the user and trying to understand how the user navigates around the app,
Okay.
basically. So, and it's like an existing app, so you are trying to redesign the app. So my question now goes like this: what if it's not an existing app, like it's either software, existing products? So how are you going to go about it? Are we still going to use behavioral interview?
Okay, good. So I used to say something that, I don't know, but personally for me, there is never an idea in your head that has never been built. Just think of anything and search it on the net. You will find an existing product. That's number one. But if peradventure there is never something like that in existence, you might not need behavioral research. Yes. If there is nothing that, okay, this is the first of its kind ever, you won't be needing behavioral research, because there is nothing to check that, okay, how are they interacting with these products, because it has never been built. So you would need more of your qualitative and quantitative research to validate your findings. Am I clear enough?
Yes. Thank you very much.
And I guess you spoke about your first question was about qualitative and quantitative. Can you come again?
Yes.
I would love to answer that.
Okay. Okay. The qualitative and quantitative research. Basically, so I'm asking if like is it advisable to use two or just one?
Okay, it is very advisable to use the two because it is not enough to do your quantitative alone. Qualitative would give you more deeper insights because the user will be able to pour out their mind. So you can always fabricate something out of what users have said. Because quantitative is more of multiple choice way of getting data. Okay, I would show you. I would share my screen to show you this case study. Okay, good. So yeah. So if you take a look at this, I got this from my qualitative research out of what I have asked them out of my user interview. That okay, how do you go about this? How do you go about this? How do you how do you get struck? Do you find this easy? Then from my qualitative and what people have said, I was able to know that okay, user always need to go to other apps to use carrier service. Okay, user always find it hard to get truck or van. Okay, user always want to schedule pickup time or dates. That's qualitative. So now go about quantitative. Quantitative will give you data. So it is from your data that you can now validate some things that okay, people use Uber more. That means Uber needs this thing. Okay, have you ever been in the middle of wondering how to move your property from one place to another? And see that okay, the response here is 90% ratio thing. Yeah, how easy is it to use to always get the truck of your choice to move your property from one location to another? You can see that the ratio here is 89 stroke 39 stroke 14. That means like people don't find it easy. So quantitative would give you more of metrics that would help you validate some things. While qualitative would give you more of what the user's emotions are. And always remember that one thing that user experience talks about is how user feels. Do they feel happy using your software or your products? Do they feel sad? That is user experience because it is centered around how user feel. So that is why qualitative is very important to know what their behavior is like towards this particular problem. Am I clear enough, please?
Yes. Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. Yeah, Stephanie, you can go on and unmute yourself. Yeah, Stephanie, you can unmute yourself. Yeah, good.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure,
Okay, good
sure.
evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, my question is okay, it's almost the same thing with what I think Chinomso asked about the Uber stove. So I think our question was if in the course of the case study, if you can be able to look out for some of the problems existing in Uber and if we can be able to fix it. So I wanted to ask is what I wanted to ask was, for example, now if we go to Uber app and we find a particular feature that is not as it should be, is it possible that we can reconstruct it in our own way, maybe in a way we feel it's going to be better? Then we can now put in our case study, or is there, or do we have to start from scratch to build our own app?
That's a very good question. And after I give a little explanation, I'll just refer you to the case study I just reviewed, which was my first ever case study, which was on Uber itself. I was adding a new feature to
Okay.
Uber. So I didn't have to now design a new entire UI or something. Like I'm adding a feature to it. So in terms of user experience, like you still have to consider the UI because that feature you are adding, how is it going to influence other feature that was there before? Hope it's not going to affect the layout that they have initially. So in approaching it, so if you found a problem and you want to state how you are approaching it, just like I said earlier, like you say is that this is how you are approaching it, because anyone that wants to understand your user experience case study process and how you've gone about your case study always wants to know how you are thinking and how you are approaching problems, how you are solving problems. So that's just it. So I would drop the link to this particular case study on the group now, so that I mean everyone else too can access and preview. If you still have any other question, you can go on.
Okay, I don't know if you can, because the part about qualitative um research, I missed out on that part. I don't know if you can recap, but I understood the quantitative. And I
Okay.
don't know if you can state ways how we can carry out qualitative research.
Okay, so I will just give a short recap on that. So for qualitative research, I made mention of some best practices to go about in asking your questions and how you should structure your questions and how you should go about them. So one of them is asking open-ended questions, because qualitative would always focus more on the user emotions and behaviors. So an example of an open-ended question is, how do you feel about this feature on this app? So for example, you said you want to solve a problem you found on Uber application. So let's say that problem you found, the approach you want to give to it is to probably create a feature, or let's say the approach you want to give to it, like you have to like probably 10 minutes or say that's probably you are redesigning or changing the look of the input field or something. Then you ask, how do you feel first about this product, and how do you feel if this feature was like this and not like this? That will give you
Okay,
an
that's fine.
insight. That will give you an insight on what the user feel about this and this. So you'll be able to know if the solution you are profiling is a good solution to that problem you've identified, or there is no even need for the solution. That is what qualitative research will give you. Like it will give you the user reaction to that particular problem you found.
Okay,
And
sir. Thank you.
all right, good. Thank you. Any other question, please? You can raise your hand and unmute yourself. Okay, I guess there is no more other questions. So in absence of no question, I would love us to I would leave us with a task once again that we would be doing, and I would be reviewing the task by tomorrow before the next facilitator we take up the class from where I will be stopping today. So the next task for us is to create at least 2 user personas in our case study sections for each team. Create at least